So you want to start a self-storage business that makes you $1 million. In 1972, a sharecropper's son opened a row of garages outside San Diego. When he died in 2021, he was worth $4 billion, and the company was worth $50. His name was B. Wayne Hughes, born in Gotebo, Oklahoma in 1933 to a family that fled the Dust Bowl for California. In 1972, he and a partner named Kenneth Volk put up around $50,000 and opened a storage facility in El Cajon, California. They named it Public Storage, a name chosen because it sounded official, like a utility, like something the government might run. They painted the doors orange. Here's the part Hughes retold for the rest of his life. They calculated they'd need about 35% occupancy to break even, and they were terrified nobody would show up. The facility filled almost immediately. People lined up to pay monthly rent to store furniture that was worth less than a year of that rent. By any rational economic logic, the customers made no sense. Hughes stopped questioning it and started building more. Public Storage became the largest self-storage company on earth. 3,000 facilities, a $50 billion real estate trust. And the man who built it drove old cars, skipped the jet, and quietly bred a Kentucky Derby winner on the side. He got rich on a simple discovery. Americans will pay rent, forever, on stuff they will never look at again. If you started a self-storage business tomorrow, this is how the math would actually work. Start with the scale, because the numbers sound made up. There are roughly 50,000 self-storage facilities in the United States. That is more than every McDonald's, every Starbucks, and every Subway in the country, combined. About 1 in 10 American households currently rents a unit. The industry collects over $40 billion a year. And here is the stat that matters if you're the one starting. About 70% of those facilities are still owned by small mom-and-pop operators. Not Wall Street, not the big brands. Individual owners. Hold that thought. It's the whole opportunity. Then there's the reason this asset class prints money. Mechanism 1. The expense ratio. A storage facility is real estate with almost nothing inside it that can break. No kitchens, no toilets in every unit. No tenants living on the property, which means no midnight plumbing calls, no evictions with furniture on the lawn, no repainting between renters. The operating costs of a storage facility run about 30 to 35% of revenue. Apartments run 45 to 50. Hotels, worse. In plain terms, you are renting air inside a metal box, and air requires no maintenance. The build math: single-story storage costs roughly $25 to $45 a square foot to construct, among the cheapest buildable square footage in America. That square foot then rents for $1 to $2 a month. A standard 10 by 10 unit brings $100 to $200 monthly, depending on the metro. Break-even occupancy sits around 60 to 65%. Stabilized facilities run in the high 80s. Facilities increasingly run with 1 employee or none. Gate codes, cameras, and a phone number. Mechanism 2. Inertia pricing. This is the hidden engine of the entire industry, so listen closely. The rate on the sign, the street rate, is a customer acquisition price. It's set low to win the move-in. Then, once your stuff is inside, the increases begin, 8 to 15% a year, every year. The big operators run this with algorithms. It's called existing customer rate increase, and it works because of a simple human truth. Moving your stored stuff means renting a truck, burning a weekend, and touching every box you've been avoiding. Against that, an extra $20 a month feels painless, so people stay. The average tenant plans to store for 3 months and stays closer to 3 years. And if you want proof this mechanism is the business, in the last few years, street rates in overbuilt Sunbelt markets fell by double digits, and the big storage companies' revenues barely moved. The new customer price collapsed. The existing customers kept absorbing increases. The sign price is marketing. The renewal letter is the business. Mechanism 3. The demand never dies. The industry calls it the 4 Ds: death, divorce, dislocation, downsizing. Every one of them fills storage units, and every one of them happens in good economies and bad ones. Self-storage sailed through 2008 while the rest of real estate burned, and it boomed again in 2020. When life gets better, people buy more stuff. When life gets worse, people lose the space to keep it. Either way, the boxes fill. Mechanism 4. The mom-and-pop arbitrage, the actual startable path. Remember the 70%? A huge share of those facilities are undermanaged. Rents that haven't been raised since 2019. No website, no online booking, a binder instead of software. An owner who built it decades ago, paid it off, and treats it as a retirement check. That facility is your entry point. The playbook. Buy an undermanaged facility. Small rural and secondary market facilities trade from $500,000 to $1.5 million. And storage is a favorite asset class for SBA lending because the real estate is the collateral. Then professionalize it. Online rentals, gate software, cameras, tenant protection plans at $10 to $15 a month, and a rent roll pushed to market rates with the increase mechanism you now understand. Occupancy holds, income jumps, and here's the finish. The facility you bought at a high cap rate from a tired owner now gets valued at the low cap rate institutions pay for stabilized storage. Same building, same boxes, re-rated asset. That spread, buy at 9, sell at 6, is where storage millionaires are actually made. And because the property runs on codes and cameras, one owner can operate 2 or 3 of these part-time. From a laptop, it's the closest thing to the passive income cliché that exists in physical business. Not actually passive, somebody has to chase the delinquents and cut the locks, but closer than anything else with a deed attached. And yes, the delinquent lockers get auctioned, exactly like the TV show. That's a real, legally required lien process. And economically, it's a rounding error. The show made it famous. The renewal letters make the money. Now the honest warning, because this channel doesn't sell dreams. The COVID boom overbuilt parts of the Sunbelt. Street rates are down hard from the 2022 peak in some metros. Interest rates squeezed values, and the build anything anywhere era is over. If your plan is to pour concrete next to 3 competitors in Phoenix, don't. The play in this cycle is not building, it's buying tired facilities from tired owners and running them like the REITs do. So let's replay it. A sharecropper's son put 50 grand into a row of garages in 1972 because he'd noticed something irrational and true. People pay rent on their own belongings indefinitely at prices that climb every year because opening the unit and dealing with it is worse than paying. 50 years later, there are more storage facilities in America than fast food restaurants of the 3 biggest chains combined. 1 in 10 households pays every month, and 70% of the industry is still owned by amateurs you can buy out with a bank loan. So you want to start a self-storage business that makes you $1 million. You're not in the storage business. You're in the procrastination business. The unit holds the boxes. The renewal letter holds the customer. And the whole thing runs while you sleep, on the one resource America produces more of every single year, stuff nobody wants to deal with. Wayne Hughes figured that out in 1972, and it made him $4 billion. The orange doors were never the business. The human inability to let go, that's the business.